speaking of Myles Garrett being traded, the Browns defense for 2 of the last 3 years has been very good, right? The year in between, they were, okay, decent. But for 2 of the last 3 years, including last year, the Browns defense has probably been one of the 5 best in the league, right? I mean, there's so many different categories, and some of those categories, what is this, just last year?
That was last year.
Okay, now some of these categories, you say, well, they're not top 5, but they're certainly in the conversation, different, whatever category. These are kind of not great categories for ranking, in my opinion, but the Browns have had a very good defense 2 of the last 3 years. We thought they would have a very good defense this year. But since last season ended, they've lost their defensive coordinator, who was arguably, or maybe unarguably, one of the best DCs in the league. And now they've lost, unarguably, the best pass rusher and probably the best defensive player, if not the best football player in the league. What they got back aside, irrelevant right now for this conversation. Do you think the Browns are likely, Dustin, to be a top 5 defense this year?
No, of course not. I mean, how could anybody think that you're going to be likely to have a top 5 defense? You lost your defensive coordinator, who did a bang-up job with this defense last year, put them in a tremendous position, put Myles in position to make plays, got turnovers, got sacks. I mean, you name it. They did it all last year. Disguise. I mean, it was phenomenal. You lose Myles Garrett, the guy's going to the Hall of Fame at 23 sacks. How are they going to be top 5? Tell me how they're going to be top 5. Carson Schlesinger, their best linebacker, coming off an injury, banged up. Denzel's getting older in the back end. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you add Jared Verse, which is nice, but it's not Myles Garrett. No, they're not going to be top 5.
If you had to pick one of these, you say, what's the most likely scenario for the Browns?
Sure.
Top 5, top half, middle of the road, below average, bad. What would you say they are this year?
They won't be bad. They'll be middle of the road.
Middle of the road?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mike?
I think it's probably more likely that they're good, not great, than just middle of the road. But I think the big unknown...
6 to 12?
Somewhere in that range.
Somewhere in that range?
But the big unknown is, this is Mike Rutenberg's first time ever calling a defense. For any of us to sit up here and say, we have a really good understanding of what they want to do with this defense, how they want to use certain players, looking at his past track record as defensive coordinator, well, it doesn't exist. So we can't even kind of pull that in. When the Browns hired Jim Schwartz, we knew he was going to implement the wide 9 system because there was a proven track record of what Jim Schwartz liked to do, how he liked to do things, and how guys fit into his system. Mike Rutenberg's a defensive coordinator for the first time, guys. So to have any idea of the exact schematics that he wants to run and how certain players fit in, we don't know till we see. But Carson Schlesinger was great as a rookie, should be better in year 2. Mason Graham, I hope to see a big leap from rookie season to sophomore season. Jared Verse is not Myles Garrett. Jared Verse is a good football player, no doubt about that. You have Alex Wright. You brought in Quincy Williams, who did thrive under Mike Rutenberg back in the day. You got a healthy Denzel Ward last year. Now you have a full season of Tyson Campbell paired up alongside him with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the backfield, defensive backfield, alongside Grant Delpit and Ronnie Hickman. It's still a talented group, a talented unit. You're also getting Malik Collins back from his injury. He was on an all-pro pace last year before he got hurt. But the loss of Myles and the loss of Jim Schwartz, I don't know how you could say with any confidence it's a top 5 unit, but there's too much talent I think that this defense would take that far of a step back from being in that right on top 5 range to 16, 17. I think it's somewhere between kind of 8 and 12.
The idea that they'll be a top 5 defense is, I'm with Dustin. I'm not saying it's impossible because you never know from year to year. But I think if you,
it's far from likely.
I say if you play the season 100 times, that maybe 1 or 2 times they're top 5. It's not likely. I didn't think they were going to be a top 5 defense even before Myles Garrett got traded, just by losing Jim Schwartz. Because you can't say with absolute certainty they were one of the 5 best defenses last year. How do you, it's an opinion. So, no, I don't even think they'll be top 10. I think they'll be a good defense, not a great defense.
So you're in
now
10,
I could see,
10 to 16 range?
Yeah, something like that. I could see this defense, because I do think they have a lot of talent, but they don't have a superstar.
Yeah.
They have Denzel Ward, who's a borderline, who's a very,
he's a star, not a superstar.
He's a star. Yeah. Not a superstar, but a star. Schlesinger is a star, could be a superstar, but he's not a pass rusher at linebacker, so there's just so much of an impact he can make. Nobody on their defensive line is a superstar. Jared Verse might be a star, might be, but not a superstar. And Myles Garrett's impact on the defense just makes it so much easier for everybody else. And Jared Verse will fill that role somewhat, and will fill it more than most other guys they could have, but he won't fill it completely. And that is going to lead, with the change and a rookie DC and a brand new head coach and an offense that probably will struggle, they're almost no chance at top 5. I think it's unlikely to be a top 10. I still think it'll be pretty good. I could see them taking a step back and then a big step forward the following year, because there is good talent here. And if Jared Verse continues to go on the path he's been on, maybe he becomes an all-pro. But he's not there yet. And, a lot of their three their best player on each unit is either very young or old in Denzel Ward's case. So, yeah.
With Jared Verse, too, he played a hybrid linebacker role in L.A.
Yeah.
He was hand in the dirt sometimes. He dropped into coverage. They were more of a 3-4 than a 4-3. We don't know how the Browns plan on using him in Mike Rutenberg's system. Is he going to become a traditional defensive end, hand in the dirt guy, pin his ears back and go? Yeah. Are they going to use him in more of that same hybrid role that Chris Shula in L.A. used him? Because Mike Rutenberg may want to be a more versatile DC than Jim Schwartz was. Jim Schwartz had his system. It was, we're doing this, we're going to plug you into this system, and we're going to get results. Maybe Rutenberg's more, adaptable to his talent as opposed to fitting guys into certain situations. So when you see Jared Verse, and you know what he did in L.A., I don't know if we have any confidence saying that's going to necessarily translate copy and paste into Cleveland, because they may want to use him in a totally different manner than the Rams used him. I'm not saying that is a good or a bad thing to Jared Verse. Just when you're looking at the overall impact he could have in this defense, we have so many more questions on this defense in terms of what they're going to do under the direction of Mike Rutenberg than we have answers at this point. It's all an unknown.
And the other thing is, too, guys, by the way, you still don't know what your offense is going to be. Right. And if your offense is dog crap, again, it's going to put your defense in tough spots.
Yeah.
It's going to make your defense not have great morale, especially like late in the year or middle of the year, October, it gets cold in November. I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think if our offense plays better than they did a year ago, I think our chances of being a top 10 defense increase.
Yeah.
Because our defense will play more inspired football. So that's, it's certainly something to factor in.
I could just tell you, from watching the Browns play the Bengals all these years, right? Like, the Browns have played better defense against the Bengals than any team in the league. But the biggest reason for that is Myles Garrett. Mm-hmm. Myles Garrett has destroyed the Bengals' offensive line. Jared Verse is good. He'll probably have success against the Bengals, but he's not going to destroy their offensive line the same way Myles Garrett can.
Zach Taylor's not going to be up at night worrying about Jared Verse.
No.
Did you read the Big Athletic article that Zach Jackson co-authored on this trade?
I did not get a chance to see it yet.
The opening paragraph, the nut graph, they call it. Which, by the way, why do they call it a nut graph? I'm not sure.
A nut graph?
The first big paragraph and the setup.
Called a nut graph?
In newspaper, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Never heard that.
Never heard
sure
that.
You're not making that up?
I promise you.
Okay.
Promise you that's real.
All right.
Okay.
The whole thing was in 2023 or 2022. The last time the Rams played the Browns.
Yeah.
When Sean McVay was coaching.
And said something to Myles after the game. Yeah.
Yeah, as they were walking into the game.
Yeah.
They happened to go through the same entrance, and McVay said, "I have not slept in 4 days trying to figure out how to stop you."
Yeah.
He goes, I have not slept in 4 days because of you.
Yeah.
Jared Verse is good. Defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators, head coaches are not losing 4 days of sleep over Jared Verse. I don't think there's another defensive end in football.
There's not another
player in football that is causing
He's the only
opposing coaches to lose that much sleep. And to your point, Verse may be here and Myles may be here, but the impact that one elite he's unblockable. Can we agree?
Yeah.
He's unblockable. Having that one unblockable guy that you can move around as a chess piece, whether it's with the crossovers, whether it's in the motion, he's on the left side, he's on the right side. I go back to the Packers game where Matt LaFleur said they had a whole playbook of plays just when Myles Garrett isn't in the game because they didn't feel comfortable running
have you ever heard that about any other player?
He is a truly one-of-one type player, and anyone trying to talk themselves into Jared Verse being able to fill those shoes right away.
Yeah. And it's not fair to Jared Verse because he's probably going to be really good.
And it's not even a knock on Verse. It's more of a testament to Myles is that good.
Yeah.
And it's going to be weird watching him in another uniform and having to sit back and watch on Sundays good pass rushers, not Myles, but good pass rushers, be able to do what we want and expect the pass rush position to do because we've been so accustomed to watching Myles Garrett do it with ease over the last 9 seasons.
And listen, they have good depth of talent on the defensive side, especially on the defensive line. Maybe the defensive line will end up being a lot better than we think. You never know. But right now, there's way more question marks about this defense than we've had in a number of years. All right.